The Beatles did a music video for Strawberry Fields. This guy I'm dating has these little pieces of film from Star Trek, and I thought, I'll bet you I can put those together and tell a story.
If you look up the definition of vidding, it says that it is a fan labor practice in media fandom of creating music videos from the footage of one or more visual media sources, thereby exploring the source itself in a new way. But what exactly does that mean? The concept of vidding itself isn't something new. It's been around for decades now. In the late 60s to early 70s, music videos had just started to shift from live performances to actual experimental films. So after seeing this, the first ever credited vidder, Candy Fong, realized she could do something similar with this concept and apply it to something she also loved.
To my mind, I'm looking at this going, okay, we're disconnecting the actual playing of the instruments and singing the song with the images we're seeing. So I can take a song and use images from somewhere else to tell my story. Of course, Star Trek, and that's where I got the idea.
Even though it was difficult and tedious, the community eventually started to grow and expand throughout the 80s and 90s, where people from different fandoms started to vid through the use of VCRs and cassette tapes. Fast forward into the late 2000s with the arrival of YouTube and the access to multiple editing softwares, you started to see a snowball effect happen. More and more people became interested in this medium. They probably didn't even know what they were watching or what they were creating, but it was vidding. And everyone started to vid for different reasons. For example, 22-year-old Char from Scotland, running the channel Charizard, says, I felt that it was an interesting way to express my creativity, along with my love for a certain show or fandom, while also engaging with other editors and sharing my work. I was 13 years old when I grew curious over some ship videos I found on YouTube.
Just trying to figure out how to live in the world again.
Ship or shipping is when you pair or group characters or people you love seeing be together, whether it be romantic, sexual, platonic, etc. The term itself literally derives from the word relationship, so whatever type of relationship you support or would like to see can be found through these fan vids.
Well, hello there. My name is Anna. On YouTube, I go by the username Ansoshi. I'm 21 years old and I live in Brazil. For quite a long stretch of time, I only edited the Vampire Diaries. But then I started to become more into TV shows in general, so I expanded my portfolio. I make couple videos a lot because I'm a huge romantic and I really get invested in pairings from TV shows, movies, books, etc. But I also make character studies, multi-fandoms, multi-couples, anyways. Usually it just depends on what inspires me, and a lot of things inspire me, so...
My name is Celine, I'm 22 years old and I'm from Germany. I stumbled upon a fan edit about this show, The Vampire Diaries, and I was so intrigued by it, I really liked it, and one day I decided that I want to try it out myself. There is no specific type of video that I made, like a video about a pairing that has a romantic relationship to each other, crossover videos, fandom videos, multi-ship videos, multi-fandom videos, sad multi-fandom videos. I basically did everything in the last few years already.
Because there are so many ships and fandoms out there to enjoy, it's no surprise that these vidders sometimes combine them all into one video, creating multi-content. However, vidding can go beyond just shipping two subjects. It can look at a fandom or group as a whole, and even sometimes connecting back to the real world.
Hi, my name is Amandine. I'm 23 years old and I live in France. When I feel really happy, I would love to just take some footage where there is happiness in the character and also a song that brings me happiness. Whenever I feel a bit less happy, if I watch this video, it's gonna bring a smile up to my face, and that's the feeling that I want to give people also when they're watching my videos. Right now, currently, I love to do family edits. Just back when I started, that's what I used to do a lot. The whole year, I filmed some little clips of my life and I put them all together to just have a bunch of memories thrown at you for 4 minutes.
Okay, we don't know what they're talking about, so...
What?
Okay.
When I talk to my friends, some of them are into it, some not. And some of them, they don't even know why they're watching that. It's just popped up in their YouTube suggestion and they're into it now.
Now, what is it exactly about these types of videos that make people want to watch or keep watching for more?
That gets expensive.
The answer is in the vids themselves, because we love watching what we love to watch. Living in a modern digital age, where things like streaming and binge watching these specific shows, movies, artists, creators, etc., it is evident that people can't get enough of what they enjoy. So when you've seen all it has to offer, or what little is given at the time, you seek out more content in relation to it.
You can feel like someone really understands like the show, the character, the couple by making these parallels or choosing the right scene to fit the right time.
These edits are like mini movies with characters or people that I like. I relive all of my favorite moments of the show in a few minutes.
What do they understand from the same clips we all watched, but maybe they understood it differently and they connected in another way?
Porque junta coisas que eu amo com música, e música assim é a forma de arte que mais me toca.
Fans just enjoy seeing their favorite characters or celebrities more and hearing their favorite songs, don't they? It's usually the same for the editors, because they are mostly fans themselves.
I personally watch them to see like skill, like graphic design and motion graphics and stuff like that.
I think as someone who's been editing for a while, wants to see what editors do and what kind of creative decisions they make, and seeing the art of others, even if I don't know what the fandom is, just to see their work for me obviously is important and interesting.
Whatever they see in them, for me, it's already a big accomplishment if I can shake something in them, shake a chord, strike some emotion. I'm Lucy, I'm 23 years old and I'm an Italian vidder. My channel name is Fortunoir. I make videos that are, let's say, a time capsule of my feelings. I like to strip away the material from their original meaning and the context of the subject that is vidded. You might see scenes from Marie Antoinette, but those scenes are not meant there to remind you of that movie. They're there to represent something.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Алена, мне 19 лет и живу я в России. Редактирую клипы или сериалы под музыку. Многие из них рассказывают какую-нибудь историю. Честно говоря, я не помню, из-за чего именно я начала заниматься видингом. Больше всего оказало влияние в то время такая платформа, как Vine. В этих 6-секундных видео не было смысла, но мне понравилось как-то выражать себя.
Hello, my name is Julia. I'm 26 years old and I'm from Russia.
I really liked watching clips and videos on YouTube of my favorite couples and movies and shows. I was dying to be a part of this world, and I realized that I could actually do it. I could join this cool hip community and just have fun. I use kind of everything that I enjoy watching. Like, I enjoyed making emotional sad videos I can reflect on. Like, if something was happening in my life that was bothering me, made me sad or angry, I could just put it all on YouTube and like made a video about it. I know people who make personal stuff, they need to do that. They need to put all of their emotions, like everything bad that's happening in your life, into the video just to feel good about something and just like to let it go. It's a sort of escape from reality when you can be anything you want and do anything you want.
Vent edits are one of many examples of how editors express their emotions through vidding. They escape from their worries or problems by editing footage and audio that match with how they're feeling. Since these moments in media represent their situation better than any words they can express. When we look at media in general, it is important that representation is there for everyone with different backgrounds. Because some of these things we watch can't or won't be inclusive with what the viewer would like to see, the vidder can change that reality into a new one.
You feel connected to a character in the movie and you're like, oh, I so want to be like this person. Seeing videos and edits about this character can bring you back memories and really make you think about your own situation.
All editors are putting bits of themselves into their work, so of course edits and videos can carry even some kind of message and reflections of their creators.
We tend to edit those that we like. So even though we may not know them entirely, at least we get an idea of what they like and how they are as a person.
This idea can expand into alternative universes, where vidders place their characters in a totally different environment, or make characters from different sources interact through crossovers.
Add the reality distortion filter.
LGBTQ representation is seen even more through the use of slash or fem/slash editing, making the couples they want to be real become reality. All this reflect the editor's ideology or views that thereby translate to the viewers, who may also feel the same, and thus represented.
Oh my god, you're a lesbian.
I'm not gay.
I made a video about Supergirl back then, made her like a bisexual character. I think it just reflects on what I like to see in the media, so it's a part of my personality, it's a part of my idealization, so it's a part of me.
Mostly it's not even about their personality trait, it's about how they make things, how they view or perceive things, what they like, what they don't, how they edit, which side do they use when they are editing. It's all part of who they are as a person.
Where I see a connection between scenes with colors and symbolism. Maybe they see a connection between the characters, or maybe someone else sees a connection in the story.
What the fuck?
Storytelling is key to a vidder, just as it is to an actual editor. Such little time is there for a vidder as compared to an average 2 hours for a film editor, especially since these vids range from short few seconds to on average 3 to 4 minute videos, depending on what parts of a song they use. In this sense, we don't see vidding as creating music videos. We see them as creating trailers for stories. This is also no surprise to know that some vidders, like 21-year-old Barry from Hungary, started to vid because they wanted to visualize a story they had in mind or written down. Barry runs the channel Barry X Edits and says, I used to keep my tradition on making just trailers, progressing year by year, but after a few years, I got into editing my favorite movies, then slowly fair TV shows and their couples. I've been inactive most of the time, but I did appear with my own little crossovers that are inspired out of my own writings. I mix the two of my hobbies together, editing and writing, or in this case, re-editing and rewriting original content into something new and creating its own new world within itself.
Hi, I'm Ori. I'm a storyteller on YouTube. I'm 20 and I live in Hungary. I mostly make edits of Korean dramas known as K-dramas and K-pop groups. I like to make them seem like they are characters from a movie or a series or just a story that I created in my head. Simply because I want to see them in that exact setting, movie, story that I created, and it's like a power. If I feel like I want something to exist, I can make it come to life by editing it.
Hi everyone, I'm Penny Ali and I'm video editor. I'm 19 years old and I'm living in a small country called Slovakia. I edit for armies and mixers. While I'm making fun videos or fun music videos, I make alternative universe stories. I used to be a writer on the Wattpad platform and I was making trailers for my books. It just made me happy back then and it makes me happy now to see something that I created myself or with the inspiration from others, or just that I did something that has meaning.
You can already see that vidding is more than its definition, that there are multiple types of content within this already defined community. Sometimes it isn't just about the characters or the story, but a deeper dive into the original content, expanding on what is already there, showcasing it in a new light.
My name is Samira, I'm 25 years old and I'm from Russia. If you generalize it, I make videos based on films. You can say that it's sort of my vision through my eyes, what I see and what I want to show, what this film made me feel. And every shot should say something so the viewer could understand how it links to the story that I'm trying to tell. I'm very dependent on inspiration and I'm very dependent on those, puzzle pieces to actually fit together.
I am very sorry for my cat, he won't go away. My name is Brisa, I am 19 years old and I am from Argentina. I edit for BTS, the Korean boy group. They usually revolve around a specific concept. For example, I have videos focusing on the symbolism or the color theory, on what a certain word means. It's a way for me to translate how I'm feeling at that specific moment, find a way to combine clips and music and express myself.
Just like how everyone is different when it comes to what type of content they make, behind the scenes of creating it all can vary from person to person. What we see with vidding is that vidders generally like to work with programs like Sony Vegas and sometimes After Effects. When it comes time to edit, the process can take time or begin within an instant, depending on the inspiration behind it.
I always think that this is my last video. I am so inspired at the moment. I honestly don't think the inspiration will ever come again.
I have to get inspired by something or someone and have pretty clear image of what I want from my edit.
Sometimes it depends on my feelings. If I feel sad, I do a sad edit. If I'm feeling happy, I do a happy edit.
Most of the time it's the song that I listen to or the movies I watch or the books I read or even something that happens in my life.
Through my own memories of my life, I find some media memories, like a film memory or a show memory, but I will think about it as a memory of my own and I'll see it in the context of what I'm living and what I was living in that moment.
The thing that would inspire me the most to make something is definitely other creators. Whenever they would post something new, it makes me want to do the same thing and get back on the grind.
To begin, how to start.
There's nothing like the process, the vidding process,
Once the idea is established, how the editing process goes from start to finish is hard to be determined, but there are some basics to it.
If you simplify it very, very much, I need music and then I need material. The music is the first one. Without music, I cannot do anything.
Actually the hardest part, because even though I have saved hundreds and hundreds of songs and they are all in one of my playlists, I just never find the one that fits perfectly for what I had in mind.
Checking out if it's not gonna be copyrighted on YouTube, because I've already had problems with that. So I always upload on YouTube with like a full black screen. I'm making sure that my channel won't be blocked or anything.
Usually I find everything on YouTube, like music and overlays.
Eu baixo os animes, as séries, por torrent. As artes que eu uso, eu salvo do Twitter, do Tumblr, etc. Junto dos nomes dos artistas, com os links para as artes originais.
Whether it be torrent sites, YouTube converters, or any other forum that can be found digging through the web for these clips, having the footage and music set is where the fun actually begins for these editors.
После всего этого я нарезаю клипы или серии и поставляю эти отрезки сцен под музыку.
So I will just lay down the clips that match the lyrics to the song or somewhat match the lyrics or the tempo or whatever. I'll follow something.
It's pretty frustrating to like comb through all of your footage to find specific scenes that you want. 3 seasons of a show that has 16 episodes each. Hours upon hours of footage you have to comb through.
If I'm really motivated, I would sort the scenes of the character by theme. But that's not the case for every video.
Sometimes some movies really have a power to work without anyone being active or doing any kind of action.
You can edit facts, you can do typography.
The coloring takes a lot of time to me. I want people to look at these clips and not think, oh, this is the 20th freaking time I'm seeing this clip.
The process either goes there or it doesn't. If you sit down and you edit and it happens, it's a good thing, then I can finish it. If I'm trying but it just doesn't go, I usually don't even try to finish it, I just stop.
Oh my God. That's the whole thing. That's 3 weeks of work. You're gonna be okay.
No, I'm not. You see.
While this process is fun and entertaining, the amount of effort these vidders put into these vids can be draining and sometimes frustrating, just like any other creative process.
And how can it not be longer?
I am very slow and critical of myself, so I get frustrated with my work pretty easily, but I am never frustrated enough to quit.
It's sometimes my inability to vid that frustrates me, when I lose inspiration, when I have no time to focus on it.
The most annoying for me is when something I want to do is beyond my capabilities. I have many limits when it comes to editing, and there is so much thing to learn about it, and I just wished I had more time to practice.
It would probably be the lack of content sometimes. I find it really hard to create my visions when no such clips exist for me to use.
When I can't find the project file I want to edit, when something isn't like it's planned. It's like a horror for me, like I want to say every girl's world in the world in every language.
I have already 3 hard drives and all of them are full. I'm just deleting things constantly and somehow I'm just always out of the memory.
If everything just was in high quality, I think I'll vid every day. But there's something that bugs me so much about low quality clips.
Programs crashing is really frustrating. Kind of just like computer issues, I would say.
Efeitos que eu tento fazer e não consigo fazer dar certo do jeito que eu quero que aconteça.
The whole process, basically, I'm a very big procrastinator, so usually I take a lot of time to finish my things, and I guess that's what frustrates me the most, not being able to finish things.
Но есть одна вещь, которая действительно расстраивает меня. Почему-то чаще всего больше огласки принимаются сырые и не очень хорошо сделанные видео. Меня всегда это ставило в тупик. Есть много талантливых людей, но о них мало кто знает.
When editors become big because they took something from the other realizing that this video that they made was actually based off this small editor.
I'm sure this is with every community. There's a lot of copycats, there's a lot of unoriginality, there's just a lot of people that do stuff just for subscribers and not really for anything substantial, but I mean, I'm sure that's in every facet of life.
Despite the bad apples within this community, the majority of vidders are supportive of one another and are passionate about what they do. Even if inspiration can come from another vidder, they focus on improving their own skills and creating something uniquely theirs that will set them apart from each other.
Hi, my name is Chris, and I am 23, and I live in the United States. I started vidding when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I really loved the shows I was watching on Disney Channel. I guess that's how I kind of showed my appreciation towards them. But now I kind of just mix them all together, like all the movies and shows I've seen in my past, into one edit. Used it to express my appreciation towards these TV shows, but it's kind of evolved since then. Make these videos just to kind of expand on my motion graphic skills and video editing skills.
My name is Yuri, or formerly known as Poison. I'm currently 17 years old and I'm from Manitoba, Canada. I started vidding in mid-2017, short after watching a variety of edits on YouTube. I enjoyed the process of it all as I liked watching what I've created afterwards. The kind of videos I would make were edits for a girl group named Twice, but eventually I started incorporating other girl groups into my recent edits as well.
My name is Christina. I'm 22 and I'm from the United States. I started because I used to watch a lot of fan videos on YouTube, and I always thought it was really cool and I really wanted to try it out. I don't know, one day I just kind of started putting random YouTube clips together to songs, and I just really liked doing it, so I continued for all these years. I think the kind of video I make depends on the mood I'm in. I don't really think I stick to one specific style or type per se. I don't know, it's just a nice hobby and I like filling my time with it.
The majority of what we have covered so far has centered entirely around the YouTube platform, but this isn't the only place you can find vidding content. Any social media platform that has an option to share video, like Instagram, Twitter, or even Tumblr, has the ability for a vidder to attract an audience or following alongside their YouTube channels, thus giving them more ability to share their vids if one platform doesn't give permission for an upload.
Oi, eu sou a Luísa Gavilon, eu tenho 23 anos e eu sou do Brasil. Eu sempre gostei de AMVs e admirava muito as pessoas que faziam, e por muito tempo eu queria fazer, mas eu achava que eu não era capaz. Eu comecei primeiro, eu editava imagens primeiro, eu fazia uns gráficos pro Tumblr, até que depois de um tempo eu fui tentar editar vídeos mesmo.
AMV stands for Animate Music Videos. It follows the same outline as any other fanvid by putting images or footage from an animated series or manga and setting it to music.
Hi, my name's Eva, but most of the time I'm using alias Ava or my editor name Authentic. I'm currently 20 years old and I'm from Czech Republic. I've been a writer in the past, so my first edits were actually something like trailers for my fanfics. And after some time, or years actually, I started to make edits, like real edits. I fell in love with animating manga and fan art especially, and now I'm mostly doing Instagram kind of edits of manga or anime.
Art is a diverse range of human activities, involving the creation of visual, auditory, or performing artifacts, which express the creator's imagination, conceptual ideas, or technical skill, intended to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Looking at this definition of what art is, it's obvious that vidding falls under the category of being art. However, the stigma behind fandoms themselves is looked down upon or seen as childish to some, making it difficult for most outside of the community to view it as an art form.
I don't know why it wouldn't be considered one. I think it takes a really creative mind to put a bunch of clips that may not technically go together and make something cohesive and engaging.
The thing about life is...
You definitely have to be creative to make these videos. A lot of people may not know how to do these videos.
We have tools in the name of the program we use, but after that, it's like a painting.
Искусство — это творческое выражение. Мы делаем что-то красивое и рассказываем историю. Творчески выражаем себя, вызывая эмоции других людей. В моем понимании, все это присуще искусству.
Like sometimes you watch a video and you're like, oh my god, this should be a MoMA or something.
A tiny little movie that can make you feel so much in such a little time.
I put the feeling, I put the meaning, I shape the video in a way that it expresses exactly what I want to convey. So I wouldn't go as far as to call myself a creator of content, but I will go and call myself an artist.
Art is subjective. We can understand that not everyone likes the same things.
Hate. Double hate.
Loathe entirely.
But that doesn't exclude the labor and time that is put into creating these fan vids. Art on its own is already a hard market when it comes to trying to earn revenue through your creations. But trying to earn any revenue through vidding content, it's barely to nearly impossible. The main obvious reason being is that because these vidders use different sources that fall under copyright, and with different countries having different policies on copyright, there isn't a defined way to surpass this legal obstacle. This also sadly means that the ones who do vid for fun and as a hobby and don't seek out any revenue are treated the same, and it's just a struggle for them to just get their vids seen. Vidding in this sense is seen as a hobby that is selfless, putting in time and energy into creating something and not expecting anything in return.
As an editor, I think it would be amazing if we could earn money. At the same time, if people are allowed to make money and revenue from copyrighted content, how would that stop people from using an editor's edit? It's like, at what line can you use copyrighted material and what line can you not?
And my opinion about copyright laws is that they can be a little too strict sometimes. I've experienced 2 copyright strikes, which is when you get like lots of functions in your channel shut down because you've used someone else's material on your channel. If you get 3 strikes on YouTube, you get like your channel deleted.
The copyright thing that happened to me recently, actually, my video was basically stolen. They took my edit and they deliberately cut the part in which there's my credit, and I was pissed as hell because that's my edit, that's my work. So in this case, I think we should also kind of have rights in this sense, because at least for credit, I think it's so fragile, because if you think about it, everything can be just stolen. We just sort of trust people that they are not going to be bad.
Money is money, and you gotta survive somehow. If a person is so good at doing this and entertains so many people, I don't see any point of not allowing them to earn something, even like a small percentage. I'm not saying take out the copyrights and give all the money to the one that edits. I'm saying just a little percentage, because somehow you're promoting their material, you're promoting movies, you're promoting shows.
Тут довольно-таки двоякая ситуация. С одной стороны, все были бы не против получать прибыль за то, что они делают, но с другой стороны, мы используем чужой контент, делая из него свой контент.
I think vidders can only make money at a certain degree, just because it won't really be fair for those who owns the content that we use for editing. So the only way we would get income would really just be through custom presets or selling project files.
So much work in our videos, so of course it would be awesome if somebody paid us, but yeah, due to copyrights, we can't really do anything about that. It's like impossible.
While there are very low chances of earning any profit on fan vids, some vidders have found different ways of making money through commissions, or even helping and teaching each other through services like Patreon. They can share tutorials, colorings, effects, overlays, different footage, etc. for some kind of payment in return.
I myself, for example, have a little deal with a small music company, and if I use some of their music or their songs in my videos, I will get 50% of the monetization money on YouTube afterwards. It really depends on the video views, but you can make like 20 to 50 or even more dollars out of it per video.
I might be a little bit of a different case in the fandom editing YouTube world because I kind of turned it into my actual job, so I kind of have to edit. I do not make money through the videos I post on YouTube. I make money through teaching people how to use the programs and kind of guiding people how to make these videos, but nothing like that infringes with copyright laws and stuff like that.
If you'd like to learn more about the relationship of fan content and copyright, then please look at the nonprofit organization called OTW, Organization for Transformative Works, where their mission is to serve fans by preserving and encouraging transformative fan activity and making fan work widely accessible to everyone. Money or not, Vidding is a medium of art that transcends fan labor and activity. It connects people not only to one another on something they enjoy, but also allows creators to find a place where they are comfortable enough to share their stories, whether it be personal or fictitious. Vidding has a large community of editors that come from different backgrounds and different interests. They work together and encourage one another, sharing knowledge and collaborating with each other to make something unique and special. Of course, learning new skills is great, especially when doing so through something you also enjoy, but the friendships that form through this process is even greater.
I found my best friend through the Vidding community, which is Samira from Miss Nothing Else. I was a big fan of her, and I remember when she commented one of my videos, I panicked. She was an ideal for me. And when we started talking, we realized how similar we were in our artistic sense.
Just meeting people who do what you do and love to do it too is just incomparable. Also, it affected my life again positively because it is such a great way to express yourself, and I just like it, I guess.
It gave me something to do when I came home from school. I was kind of an outcast, so it really helped me find my people and my community and help grow the community. It was a good thing for me, I believe.
I have had a new hobby for a few years now, and something I enjoy when I'm too busy or when I hit a slump and I don't really have any inspiration. It's something I can take a break from.
I grew as a person a lot more when I had a chance to express myself and express to other people. And if it wasn't for editing, I wouldn't met or to know some people in my life that are really important.
I think in a way, Vidding made me so much happier. Maybe that I finally realized that I have a tiny talent in something, and I'm not hopeless when it comes to creativity.
Would you mind playing this?
Yeah, sure thing, lady.
I start to listen to a song, and for me, sometimes I'm just imagining like the whole video in my head, especially when I know that I want to make something out of that song. But just in general, I can be listening to anything, and I'll have like scenes popping in and out of my mind.
Повлиял, и думаю, что в лучшую сторону. Я стала более открытой и получаю удовольствие от хороших комментариев в моих работах. Признание твоего творчества, хоть и небольшое, действительно делает счастливее. Также теперь я знаю талантливых и хороших людей, которые всегда протянут руку помощи.
And you know, those people, when they comment and say something about your work, that's just there to be mean. It obviously touches you. I think it's really because when I edit a video, I do it with my heart, and if someone says something about it or found it in a way disturbing or just hurtful for themselves, I feel kind of sad for them and for myself because I made it, so obviously I'm the reason why they're feeling the way they say they do.
On the bright side though, I do think that Vidding has positively affected my life because it taught me skills I never thought I have. And now I'm an active freelancer.
It helped me a lot finding out what I'm wanting to do with my life later, in my job, in my career, because now I'm working in a film production company in Hamburg, and that's all because one day I decided to start with Vidding.
Nossa, com certeza. Fez eu escolher minha profissão e o que eu quero estudar. Eu trabalho com edição de vídeo e esse ano agora eu tô me formando na faculdade de cinema.
Now, you may be watching all this and thinking to yourself, wow, I love this idea of fan vids and I love watching them, but I could never be talented enough to make something like this. And to that I say, don't underestimate yourself. Anything is possible.
It will be difficult in the beginning, but it's all a process, and if you put enough effort into learning, you'd be creating your own unique content soon enough.
Don't start just because you think it's an easy thing to do and you want to have a lot of subscribers, followers, or fame. Just start because you like it, because you want to learn something new, or you just want to do something you enjoy. Don't stress it, learn at your own pace, watch tutorials, let yourself be inspired by others.
A lot of people think you have to have a specific style. I'm someone that doesn't really think that's true. I would say try whatever you want, whatever you're in the mood for, and remember that practice makes perfect. Your first edits are never going to be amazing. Your first edits will almost always suck. But if you keep practicing, then we'll get better.
Practice, 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 and practice. Watch as many tutorials as you can. Watch me edit videos, watch edits, try different editing styles. Really just watch and learn.
Eu aprendi a maioria, sozinha, vendo tutorial e tentando, descobrindo, assim, o programa sozinha. Mas também existem, acho que, cursos, assim, para edição de vídeo, no geral. Não focado nisso, né? Mas talvez para conhecer o programa melhor, coisa assim.
If it's just escape from reality, or just a little hobby of yours, or a chance to be a part of community, go for it. It's so much fun. You can learn some programs that will help you in the future, and you can make friends from all over the world.
Something I would really, really recommend to anyone who has free time. You must have free time. I have many friends whose major are in audiovisual arts. They went into it because they started vidding and really liked it and found themselves and found the thing that they wanted to do with their lives, with their careers. So I'd say go for it.
Being yourself is important, otherwise it's just not gonna last, I think. And even through years and years, and you think, well, I've been doing this for so long, why am I not noticed? It doesn't matter. What matters is that if it makes you happy and you like what you do, you should put it out. And even if there's just 2 likes on the video, don't let that make you think that what you do is somehow not good enough or not creative and not beautiful.
Don't have limitations. Doesn't matter if you have to post a 20 seconds long video. If it's cool and you like it, do it. Also, long videos, you have a 10 minutes video, post it, who cares? It's your vision, it's your project. You have to do it for yourself.
If it's to get followers, maybe it's not for you, because there have been many people in the past that do it just to get clout or followers, and in a year they're gone. I guess just ask yourself why you want to do it, what you would gain from it, and what would other people gain from it.
You have to keep going. You have to work and work and work and make mistakes and be better and get better and learn and grow as a person. But do not wait until everything is given to you.
Главное — это увлеченность и хотение делать что-то. Со временем вы поймете, подходит вам это или нет. Вероятность того, что вы станете популярным, мала, но она есть. Не ждите того, что на вас сразу обратят внимание. Нет, это происходит со временем, и то не всегда. Наслаждайтесь и ничего не ждите.